September 4th. 1456. John Corvinus Hunniades died, a general in the Hungarian armies, distinguished for his bravery and his great success in the wars with the Turks. 1532. Pizarro, having landed in Peru and founded a colony, now began his march for the conquest of the country. His force consisted of 62 horse, and 106 foot, among whom were 20 crossbowmen, with which he went forth to encounter tens of thousands of fierce and warlike men. It is said that Pizarro incited his followers to this dangerous enterprise by the singular argument that this main design was the propagation of the Catholic faith, without injuring any person. 1588. Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, died. He was a great favorite at the court of Elizabeth, and accounted a man of talents, but artful, ambitious, and criminal. 1598. Philip II of Spain died at the Escurial of a loathsome disease. By his own account, he expended 600 million of gold ducats and sacrificed 20 million of human lives. 1665. Naval action between the English and Dutch. The latter lost 12 war and 2 East India ships. 1676. John Ogilvy, a Scottish writer, died. From the profession of a dancing master he became an eminent geographer, critic and poet. 1699. Christian V, King of Denmark, died, in consequence of a wound received in hunting, aged 53. He was much engaged in war. August 25. 1727. The body of George I of England was interred in the night at Hanover. 1745. The town of Perth occupied by the adherents to Charles the Pretender, and he himself proclaimed King of Great Britain. 1753. Andrew Fountain, an English antiquarian, died. He traveled over the European continent in search of pictures, medals, statues and inscriptions, with which he enriched the cabinets of England. 1759. Paul Francis Villey, a French Jesuit, died, author of a valuable history of France. 1780. John Fielding, one of the police justices of London, died at Brompton. Though blind from his youth, he was a vigorous writer, and an efficient magistrate. 1784. Tsar Cassini de Thoury, an eminent French astronomer, died. He had acquired much knowledge on the science at the age of 10. He published a map of France in 182 sheets, which has served as a model for all subsequent works of the kind. This family had been at the head of the Royal Observatory at Paris 113 years. 1785. A Mr. Sadler ascended at Oxford, England, in a balloon of his own construction. He was the first Englishman who undertook an rail voyage. 1796. A quantity of rope was brought into the office of the Secretary of State at London as the first specimen of the labor of convicts at Botany Bay, inches thick. 1797. On this day the majority of the French Directory overthrew the opposite party. 65 deputies were condemned to deportation as guilty of a conspiracy for the restoration of the monarchy. The councils renewed their oaths of hatred against royalty on this occasion. 1800. Cayuga Bridge over the lake finished. 1802. Garnerin, a French Renault, made a descent of about 8,000 feet in his parachute. This was not so successful as a former experiment, the parachute not opening for some time after being cut from the balloon. 1804. Great hurricane in the West Indies. 274 vessels lost. 1805. Peter Francis Andrew Mechane, a French astronomer, died. He was a practical man, and accomplished much useful labor. 1808. John Home, a Scottish writer, died, aged 84. He was a preacher at the time his admirable play of Douglas appeared, which gave so much offense to the presbytery that he resigned. 1830. Donald MacDonald died at Lynn, Massachusetts, aged 108. He was born in Scotland, 1722, and during the last years of his life wandered about the country, a vagrant of the most intemperate habits. He was with Wolfe at the Battle of Quebec. 1834. George Clymer, inventor of the Columbia printing press, died in London, aged 80. Formerly of Philadelphia. 1836. The Sultan of Turkey released all the inmates of his seraglio from the perpetual imprisonment within the precincts of his palace, to which they had considered themselves to be condemned for life. 1843. Captain Ross landed at Folkestone on his return from a voyage of discovery in the southern polar circle, which had occupied 4 years. 1844. Matamoros destroyed by a hurricane. More than 2/3 of the houses in the city were prostrated, and 200 lives lost. The city was devastated in the same way in 1835 and 1837. 1850. Marshal Haynau, who commanded the Austrian forces in the Hungarian War, visited the brewery of Perkins and Barclay, London, and was attacked by a mob composed of the workmen in the establishment, and the draymen and coal heavers outside, and barely escaped with his life, by the assistance of the police. Of his acts had excited the indignation of all Christendom. 1852. The Hudson River steamboat Reindeer exploded, by which 28 lives were lost, and 20 others were injured.